In the small town of Whispering Pines, nestled deep in the forested hills, there was a legend that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. The tale spoke of an old, abandoned mansion at the edge of town, known as the Hollowwood Manor. They said the manor was cursed, its walls echoing with the whispers of the past. It was rumored that a family had once lived there, but tragedy had struck one fateful night. The youngest daughter, Emily, had disappeared without a trace on her 10th birthday. Her parents, grief-stricken and desperate, searched every corner of the mansion, but Emily was never found. Years passed, and the mansion fell into disrepair. Locals claimed they could sometimes hear faint cries echoing from within its walls, especially on stormy nights when the wind howled through the trees like mournful wails. Some brave souls ventured inside, only to return with tales of cold spots and eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own. One night, a group of adventurous teenagers decided to investigate Hollowwood Manor for themselves. Armed with flashlights and trembling courage, they crept through the overgrown garden and pushed open the creaking front door. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. As they explored the darkened corridors, strange things began to happen. Shadows danced in their peripheral vision, and whispers brushed against their ears, though no one else was there. The temperature dropped suddenly, chilling them to the bone, despite it being a warm summer night. They reached the grand staircase, its steps groaning underfoot. At the top, they found a child's room frozen in time, with toys scattered on the floor and a faded portrait of a little girl on the wall. The atmosphere grew heavier, suffused with an inexplicable sadness that made their hearts race with fear. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the silence, echoing through the empty halls. Terrified, the teens fled the mansion, stumbling over each other in their haste to escape. They never returned, haunted by the memory of that night and the feeling that something unseen had watched their every move. To this day, Hollowwood Manor stands as a silent sentinel on the edge of Whispering Pines, its secrets buried within its decaying walls. The legend of Emily's disappearance lives on, a cautionary tale whispered among the townsfolk to heed the warnings of the past, lest they too fall victim to the mansion's dark and mysterious curse. Years passed, and Hollowwood Manor remained a forbidden place, its windows boarded up against the elements and its gardens reclaimed by nature. The story of Emily's disappearance became more than just a local legend. It became a warning, a tale told to children to keep them from straying too far into the woods. But despite the warnings, there were always those curious souls who couldn't resist the lure of the unknown. Among them was Sarah, a young woman who had grown up hearing the stories of Hollowwood Manor. Unlike others who shivered at the mention of its name, Sarah felt drawn to it, as if a thread of fate tugged at her heart whenever she passed by its overgrown gates. One autumn evening, as the sun dipped low in the sky and cast long shadows across Whispering Pines, Sarah made her decision. She gathered her courage, packed a flashlight, and slipped out of her house unnoticed. With each step towards the mansion, the air grew colder, and the forest seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. Pushing through the tangled undergrowth, Sarah reached the weathered door of Hollowwood Manor. With trembling hands, she pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit foyer draped in cobwebs. The air inside was thick with the scent of damp wood and age-old secrets. Sarah's flashlight flickered as she ventured deeper into the mansion, her footsteps echoing softly against the faded wallpaper. She passed by rooms frozen in time, each one a silent witness to a life that had long since vanished. The mansion seemed to exhale memories, filling the air with whispers of laughter and echoing footsteps. As Sarah climbed the staircase, her heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement. She reached the top and paused before a door slightly ajar, the wood warped with age. With a deep breath, she pushed it open. Inside was a room bathed in moonlight filtering through cracked windows. Dust motes danced in the pale beams, illuminating the remnants of a childhood left behind. Toys lay scattered on the floor, their once vibrant colors faded with time. In a corner, Sarah noticed a small bed draped with a threadbare quilt, as if waiting for its occupant to return. But it was the portrait on the wall that drew Sarah's attention. A painting of a young girl with a mischievous smile and bright eyes that seemed to follow her every move. Sarah felt a pang of sorrow as she studied the face of Emily, frozen forever in a moment of innocence. Suddenly, a soft breeze rustled through the room, stirring the dust and causing the toys to rattle faintly. Sarah turned, half expecting to see Emily standing before her, but the room remained empty save for the memories etched into its walls. With a heavy heart, Sarah retraced her steps through the mansion, each room whispering its secrets as she passed. She reached the front door and stepped back into the cool night air, the weight of the mansion's history settling upon her shoulders. As she made her way home through the darkened forest, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she had witnessed something more than just a ghostly echo of the past. The story of Emily's disappearance had come alive in those silent halls, leaving Sarah with a deeper understanding of the mysteries that haunted Whispering Pines. And so, Hollowwood Manor continued to stand as a testament to the power of stories and the enduring presence of those who had once called it home. Its halls remained silent, yet the legend of Emily and the brave souls who dared to uncover its secrets would forever echo through the ages, a reminder that some mysteries are best left undisturbed. Months passed since Sarah's haunting exploration of Hollowwood Manor. The experience lingered in her mind, a puzzle she couldn't quite solve. Despite the chill that had settled into her bones that night, she found herself drawn back to the outskirts of Whispering Pines, often catching glimpses of the mansion's looming silhouette through the dense foliage. One crisp spring morning, Sarah stumbled upon an old bookstore in town, its shelves stacked haphazardly with dusty tomes and faded manuscripts. Among the stacks, a weathered leather-bound journal caught her eye. Its cover was adorned with intricate patterns that seemed oddly familiar, like the ironwork on the gates of Hollowwood Manor. Curiosity piqued, Sarah flipped through the yellowed pages. The journal belonged to a woman named Evelyn Hartley, who had lived in Whispering Pines decades ago. As Sarah read through Evelyn's entries, she discovered a connection to the mansion that sent shivers down her spine. Evelyn had been a governess at Hollowwood Manor, tasked with caring for the young Emily. Her words painted a vivid picture of a lively child with an insatiable curiosity, much like Sarah herself. But as Sarah delved deeper into the journal, she uncovered hints of something darker lurking beneath the surface, a sense of foreboding that Evelyn couldn't quite articulate. One entry, dated the day before Emily's disappearance, spoke of strange occurrences within the mansion's walls. Evelyn wrote of whispers in the night, objects moving on their own, and a pervasive feeling of being watched. She described Emily's increasing fascination with a hidden room she claimed existed beyond a locked door in the attic, a room Evelyn had never been allowed to enter. Sarah's heart raced as she pieced together the puzzle. Could Emily have stumbled upon something inside Hollowwood Manor that led to her vanishing? Was there a secret yet undiscovered, buried deep within the mansion's labyrinthine corridors? Determined to unravel the mystery, Sarah embarked on a quest to find the hidden room described in Evelyn's journal. Armed with newfound purpose, she returned to the overgrown gardens of Hollowwood Manor, the weight of history pressing upon her shoulders. She retraced Evelyn's footsteps, scouring every inch of the mansion with a tenacity that bordered on obsession. Days turned into weeks as Sarah combed through dusty archives and crumbling floorboards, her flashlight casting long shadows that seemed to dance to the rhythm of her heartbeat. Then, one stormy night, Sarah stumbled upon a forgotten staircase concealed behind a false wall in the attic. With trembling hands, she pushed open a heavy oak door that protested loudly against its hinges, revealing a hidden chamber bathed in the glow of her flashlight. Inside, Sarah discovered a room frozen in time, much like Emily's bedroom downstairs. But this room was different. It was filled with relics of a bygone era, antique furniture draped with cobwebs, faded paintings lining the walls, and a small desk covered in yellowed parchment. In the corner, tucked away beneath a dusty sheet, Sarah found an old chest. With bated breath, she lifted the cover and gasped at its contents. A collection of journals, letters, and photographs dating back centuries. Among them was a portrait of a young girl who bore a striking resemblance to Emily, her eyes filled with a mixture of innocence and sorrow. As Sarah sifted through the treasures hidden within the chest, she uncovered the truth behind Emily's disappearance. A tale of family secrets, forbidden love, and a tragic fate that had bound the inhabitants of Hollowwood Manor together for generations. Armed with newfound knowledge, Sarah returned to Whispering Pines, her heart heavy with the weight of the past. She shared her discoveries with the townsfolk, piecing together the fragments of a story that had haunted their dreams for decades. And as the sun set over Hollowwood Manor, casting long shadows across its weathered facade, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. The mysteries that had once shrouded the mansion had finally been unraveled, their echoes fading into the twilight as Whispering Pines embraced the truth buried within its darkest corners. In the days that followed Sarah's discovery of the hidden chamber in Hollowwood Manor, the atmosphere in Whispering Pines shifted. The town buzzed with renewed interest in the long-standing mystery of Emily's disappearance, fueled by the revelations Sarah had unearthed from the forgotten room. Sarah became a central figure in the unfolding saga, her days filled with interviews from local historians, curious townsfolk, and even journalists from nearby cities eager to uncover the truth behind the haunted mansion. She spent hours poring over the contents of the chest she had found, meticulously piecing together the fragments of history hidden within. Among the treasures were journals penned by Emily herself, chronicling her days spent exploring the expansive grounds of Hollowwood Manor and the forbidden corners she had discovered within its labyrinthine halls. Sarah felt a kinship with the young girl whose curiosity had led her down a path of discovery tinged with danger and mystery. As Sarah delved deeper into Emily's writings, she began to unravel a web of family secrets and intrigue that had spanned generations. She learned of a forbidden romance between Emily's mother, Isabel, and a mysterious outsider who had arrived in Whispering Pines under mysterious circumstances. Their love was a source of scandal and strife within the tight-knit community, leading to whispers of curses and dark omens surrounding Hollowwood Manor. Emily's journals spoke of hidden passages that crisscrossed beneath the mansion, connecting forgotten chambers where secrets were kept locked away from prying eyes. Sarah's exploration of these passages revealed relics of the past. A wedding dress draped over a chair, its lace yellowed with age. A set of old love letters tied with a faded ribbon, their ink blurred but their passion palpable. Yet, amidst the romance and intrigue, Sarah uncovered a darker truth. Emily's final entries hinted at a growing sense of unease, as if she had stumbled upon a secret that threatened to unravel everything she held dear. The whispers in the night grew louder, the shadows in the corridors more menacing, until one stormy night when Emily vanished without a trace. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the answers she sought lay hidden within the depths of Hollowwood Manor, waiting to be discovered. With each revelation, the mansion seemed to come alive, its walls echoing with the voices of those who had walked its halls before her. Driven by a relentless determination, Sarah continued her quest for the truth, uncovering clues that pointed to a hidden room deep within the heart of the mansion. A room rumored to hold the key to Emily's fate and the mysteries that had plagued Whispering Pines for generations. One moonlit night, Sarah ventured into the depths of Hollowwood Manor, guided by a map drawn from Emily's descriptions in her journals. She navigated twisting corridors and climbed creaking staircases, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Finally, she reached the hidden room, a chamber untouched by time, its walls lined with shelves of dusty books and crumbling manuscripts. In the center of the room stood a desk covered with yellowed parchment and an old typewriter, its keys frozen in midair as if waiting for someone to continue the story. As Sarah sifted through the documents scattered across the desk, she uncovered the final pieces of the puzzle. The truth was more heartbreaking than she could have imagined. A tale of betrayal, sacrifice, and a love that transcended time itself. In the shadows of Hollowwood Manor, Sarah pieced together the story of Isabel and her forbidden love, a story that had been erased from the annals of history but lingered in the whispers of the wind and the echo of footsteps in the night. Armed with the knowledge she had uncovered, Sarah emerged from Hollowwood Manor with a sense of closure. She shared the truth with the townsfolk of Whispering Pines, weaving together the threads of the past into a tapestry of redemption and forgiveness. And as she stood before the mansion one last time, bathed in the light of dawn breaking over the horizon, Sarah felt a presence beside her. A whisper of gratitude from Emily and all those whose lives had been touched by the mysteries of Hollowwood Manor. The legend of the mansion continued to haunt the town, but now it was a tale of resilience and courage in the face of darkness. A story that would be passed down through generations, reminding them that sometimes the greatest mysteries are not found in the shadows, but in the light of truth that shines through even the darkest of nights. Months had passed since Sarah's profound discoveries within Hollowood Manor. The town of Whispering Pines had been forever changed by the revelations she unearthed from the depths of the old mansion. Sarah herself had become somewhat of a local legend, a seeker of truth who had unraveled the mysteries that had haunted their community for generations. As Sarah settled back into her routine, she couldn't shake the feeling that there were still unanswered questions lingering within the walls of Hollowood Manor. The hidden chamber and its revelations had brought closure to some aspects of Emily's story, yet Sarah sensed there was more to be discovered, secrets that still whispered through the corridors of the old mansion. One crisp autumn afternoon, Sarah received an unexpected visitor at her doorstep, a frail, elderly woman named Margaret, who had lived in Whispering Pines her entire life. Margaret's weathered face bore the marks of years spent in the quiet town, and her eyes held a wisdom that only comes from a lifetime of listening to its whispers. With trembling hands, Margaret handed Sarah an ancient key, its iron surface worn smooth by time. She explained that it belonged to her grandmother, who had once worked as a maid at Hollowood Manor during the time of Emily's disappearance. Margaret's grandmother had kept a journal hidden away, filled with secrets she dared not share until now. Intrigued and slightly apprehensive, Sarah accepted the key and followed Margaret to her modest cottage on the outskirts of town. The air inside was thick with the scent of herbs and memories long forgotten. Margaret led Sarah to a dusty attic where an old trunk sat tucked away in a corner, covered in cobwebs and neglect. Together, they opened the trunk, revealing a treasure trove of memories carefully preserved within its depths. Among the moth-eaten linens and faded photographs lay a leather-bound journal, its pages yellowed with age but its words as vivid as the day they were written. Sarah's heart raced as she flipped through the journal, the ink faded but still legible. The entries chronicled Margaret's grandmother's time at Hollowood Manor, the daily routines, the comings and goings of the residents, and, most importantly, the whispers that permeated the mansion's halls. Sarah's eyes widened as she read about a hidden passage discovered behind a portrait in the grand foyer, a passage that led to a series of underground chambers rumored to hold the mansion's darkest secrets. According to the journal, Margaret's grandmother had overheard hushed conversations between the master of the house and a mysterious visitor, conversations that hinted at a conspiracy that went far beyond the confines of Whispering Pines. Driven by a newfound determination, Sarah returned to Hollowood Manor, the key clutched tightly in her hand. She retraced Margaret's grandmother's footsteps, guided by the clues hidden within the journal. With each step, she felt the weight of history pressing upon her, the whispers of the past urging her forward. Sarah found the portrait described in the journal, its gaze hauntingly familiar as she pushed it aside to reveal the hidden passage beyond. The air grew colder as she descended into the darkness, her flashlight casting long shadows that danced along the stone walls. After what felt like an eternity, Sarah emerged into a vast chamber buried deep beneath the mansion. The walls were lined with shelves of ancient tomes and dusty artifacts, relics of a time long forgotten. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, upon which rested a weathered tome bound in black leather. With trembling hands, Sarah opened the tome, its pages crackling with age. The words within spoke of a pact made centuries ago, a pact between the founders of Whispering Pines and a powerful entity that dwelled within the forest. The entity had granted the founders prosperity and protection in exchange for a sacrifice that had been repeated throughout the generations to ensure the town's continued existence. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she realized the implications of what she had uncovered. The disappearances, the whispers, the curse that had plagued Hollowood Manor, all were connected to this ancient pact, a dark bargain that had shaped the destiny of Whispering Pines for centuries. Armed with this knowledge, Sarah returned to Whispering Pines, her mind racing with the weight of the truth she now carried. She shared her discoveries with the townsfolk, urging them to confront the shadows that had long haunted their community. Together, they vowed to uncover the full extent of the pact and to break free from the chains of their ancestors' decisions. As the sun set over Whispering Pines, casting long shadows across its quiet streets. Sarah stood before the townsfolk with a sense of hope and determination. The journey into Hollowwood Manor had not only unraveled the mysteries of the past, but had also illuminated a path forward, a path towards redemption and renewal. And as the last whispers of twilight faded into the night, Sarah knew that the legacy of Hollowwood Manor would forever be intertwined with the resilience of Whispering Pines, a town united in its quest for truth and freedom from the shadows that had haunted it for so long.